today we got to play Jump Drive, and with the expansion, Terminal Velocity. So this is a space theme engine builder, but before we get into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about Jump Drive and its expansion?
I can. So Jump Drive is a 2017 release, while Terminal Velocity just came out in 2023. So this re-implements a game that Tom Lehman created called The City, and it also sort of re-implements Race for the Galaxy, because it takes the mechanisms apparently from The City and incorporates them into his, Galaxy series that he's got. So this has a Board Game Geek rating of 7.0 and a Board Game Geek rank of 1,133. It plays 2 to 4 players. With the expansion, it adds a 5th player. And then 10 to 30 minutes. It is a very quick game. That's about right. And aged 13 and up. As I mentioned, is designed by Tom Lehman. Art is Martin Hoffman, Klaus Stefan, Mirko Suzuki, and Jens Weiss. Published by Rio Grande Games. The MSRP for each is $24.95. Now, Card House has both of them each individually at $17.99. Miniature Market has it priced the same, but they're out of stock on both of them. So Card House would be the place to go as far as pricing for this and in stock.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about the quality components. This is a card game.
Yeah.
With a little few cardboard chits.
Yeah. The cards all do have a linen finish, and they all have a nice texture, and they're good thickness.
So, okay. Nothing else. It's a 5. There's nothing astounding, but it works.
It's got a linen finish, and granted, there's not much to the game other than cards, but since that's the main thing, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to give it a 6.5 because of the fact that the cards are a good card stock with linen finish. Tokens, There's nothing special about them.
Well, they're not even aligned. Some of them aren't even. Well, it's fine.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a
off placement on the ones, because you can tell some
on the cardboard tokens. I did see some of that. Yeah,
but you are right. This is a card game, but the cards are really nice quality, so fair enough. All right, so now let's talk about the actual theme. We're in space, and we're trying to conquer different planets or buy planets.
We'll settle them.
Settle them, anyway. And so that's kind of your gig. You're also doing development cards, so basically you're trying to build technologies and as you go. So it's a very common space theme in that essence, but they have really good art on this that's very unique. I say unique, but it's very well done, very sci-fi driven. So I can appreciate that quite a bit. What about you? What did you think of the theme?
I think, I like the consistency with his games, that they're all part of this same universe that, he pulls all these games into. If you consider that Race for the Galaxy has a lot of the same mechanics as Puerto Rico, this has kind of got a look of some of the mechanics of San Juan with the discarding of cards to pay for things. But it's more focused on engine building in this one, and I like the way it flows. The cards interact very well together. As a matter of fact, some of the cards have actual references to specific cards, and I like the interplay with that. Yeah. So I think I'll probably give it a 7.5, because I do think the art is very appropriate for the game and pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think a 7 is fine. The artwork's pretty good, and the consistency and theme. All right, so now let's talk about the rule book.
So the rule book is a trifold, which I'm not a big fan of usually.
It's
short. It's super short. It's front and back for Jump Drive, and then the expansion is kind of like a series of mini expansions, and it's also front and back, is all there is to it. So it's quick to read, quick to get into the game. It's a little bit of a different mindset if you've played Race for the Galaxy and New Horizons or any of the other games that are part of this series. This one is kind of an offshoot that doesn't quite have the same feel as Puerto Rico, whereas the other ones are very similar to Puerto Rico. This one is because you're building an engine, you're scoring points each round as part of that engine building. So it's a little bit different feel. So if you're used to those other rules, it's going to throw you for a loop when you start reading this a little bit, but it's not complex. And they did a nice job of basically having similar to the style of the Aaliyah series, where they have the abbreviated versions on the right side of the panel. So they've got this left 2/3 of the page is the rules. The little 1/3 on the right is kind of a summary or reference for the rules, which I like. I'm probably going to go ahead and give them a 7.5 as far as the rules go. I think they're nice. I don't like the trifold, but I think they do get you into the gameplay pretty quick, and it's pretty clear. There weren't a lot of examples in here. I think that could have helped a little bit.
Yeah, but this is pretty straightforward. Let's talk about the gameplay. All right, So you start out your hand with how many cards?
You get 5 cards. Now, there's 2 ways. There's starter decks that they have, if you're not familiar with the game, that have letters A through E, where you can just pick a letter and take that set. Or if the standard way of play is you'll get dealt 7 cards and you discard down to 5. So you get to choose the 5 you keep.
I'll just keep the 5 that I have. All right, so basically I start out with my hand with 5 cards. And
you would have no cards in play in the base game. Now, with the expansion, you get a planet that is your home planet that you start from.
Yeah. So in this case, I started with Galactical Developers, and when I'm placing a planet, it costs 1 development less. Or no, when I'm not placing a planet, I get 1 development less. Okay.
1 cost discount on development.
All right. So basically, I start with my 5 cards. Now, I can play up to 2 cards, but only 1 can be a planet and only 1 can be a development. But I have to have the ability to do that. So I'm going to end up choosing this, and I can't afford.
We're playing simultaneously with this. I'm going to grab 5 of my cards that I have down here. So we would both be choosing our cards. Now, you can choose to play 2, as you mentioned, or you can just choose 1. If you choose 1, they actually give you some perks for doing that. If you play a planet by itself, then you will get to draw a card for playing the planet by itself. If you choose a development by itself, you get 1 discount on it. And since her ability gives her an additional discount, she actually gets 2 off of the cost.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play 1. I'm going to play a planet.
And I'm only going to play a development because that's all I can afford.
So she gets hers for free because she has a discount. Plus, she could have played up to a 2. She only played a 1. I'm playing this, costs 0. But since I played a planet by itself, I get to draw a card. And then at the end of the round, that's all the round is. Then you score your victory points and your cards as income. So for this one, I get 1 victory point. So
I also get a victory point.
And then card-wise, this one generates 0, but my starter planet that I have says if it's paired with a blue planet, I get to get 1 card. So I will get a card for having a blue planet.
Okay. That's great for you. I don't get any cards. So then we would take another turn and keep on going until someone reaches 60 points, and that triggers the end of the game.
The base game, it's 50 points. The expansion turns it into 60 points. Because it also adds in other ways to score, because you have bonus cards that are goals that you can accomplish. If you're the first to accomplish it, you get a token that gives you either a discount of 3 on a development or a discount of 2 on either the military strength for a planet or the acquisition of the planet from a settlement. Or if you don't spend it, it's worth 5 victory points. So if you're not familiar with Race for the Galaxy, there's 2 ways to conquer a planet or settle a planet. There's planets that have a black circle on them that have a cost on them. If you have you pay the number of cards that's in the cost in this game, then you can settle that planet. Now, if you have military strength that you can build up, they give you +1s on military on some of the cards, then you can build up to conquer a planet that has got a military value on it, which are red circles. And in those cases, it's really sweet. You don't have to pay any cards for them, but you have to accumulate that military strength in order to do it. And there's very few cards, relatively few cards, that give you military strength compared to just discarding cards for the others. So you have to make sure you get the right mix of cards to get what you need.
Yeah, so it is pretty straightforward as long as how to play your turn. However, there is a little bit of strategy when you consider the engine building aspect, as well as the goals that the expansion added, as well as having a starting planet to work from. I actually really appreciated this game. It is, I'm sad because it's a little short, but in the same time, this could be really good if you need a filler game.
Yeah.
This is like a legit filler
and
game.
It's super portable because you can combine these two into one box easily because there's a lot of extra space in the box with the insert you can just take out. So that you could really just have one of these boxes of this size, throw it into your suitcase or throw it into whatever bag you're carrying, and you've got a game that can play up to four or five people. And that's a very quick filler, and it doesn't take up the engine part takes up space, but you could, as long as you have enough space around a table to play out your cards, it doesn't.
Yeah, this is one of those things. Is like you could play on the floor or something like that if you need. It's not. This is a very portable game because it is just cards, right? So, I actually really really enjoyed it for what it was. So, considering it is a filler game. I really, really liked it. I'm actually going to give this probably 8.5 or 9. I love engine building, and it's short, it's sweet, and it fills a certain niche, and I think that's great.
Yeah. Another thing that was really clever they did was they actually put the name of the card at the top and at the bottom. It's in small print at the bottom, but it makes it stackable. So if you still need to see the name of the card, you can reference that. The only problem with it is there's a lot, in addition to the abilities you get for income, you also have some bonuses on the cards, which sometimes take up a lot of the text on there. So there's not a lot of stacking you can do, but where you can, it gives you the ability to see the card name because of all the references there are to card names. It's kind of important to know that. So I'm probably a little lower than you, but I don't think it's, I think it's just because it feels like it's way quicker than I want it to end. But then I think that's because it's like it starts out slow, you feel like you're only getting 1 or 2 victory points or maybe 0 even. And then suddenly you're getting 17, 18, 20 victory points in one turn. It ramps up quickly because everything piles as you build.
Well, that's a good engine. You're right. It's like, it just ended, but I think, it fills a 30-minute niche.
Yeah, and it definitely does.
So, and that's where I'm like, okay, for what it is, it's great. I love it. So
I'm probably going to give it an 8. I'm not a lot lower than you. I think it is a good game for being what it is. And, when I say 8, it's because I'm adding in both of them. I think the base game alone is probably not enough meat. I'd probably give it more of a 7, 7.5. But with the expansion added in, I think it gives it a little more meat and it makes it up to an 8. So, I would definitely recommend tracking down. It's kind of something old, something new. We got the 2017 release, the 2023 release. Both of these are still out there in circulation, so you can easily grab them. And I definitely would recommend grabbing both because it's only, if you go to Card House, $18 for each, $36. This is very cheap.
Yeah, and like I said, it definitely fills a niche. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.